The wheel of live is spinning. Whoops. LinkedIn says you're not approved for LinkedIn Live. All right. Well, remove that one then.
Hey, it's all good, man. When you get this is good test for when you get some real guests, right?
That's right. Hey, David Hill, Devin Doherty, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I am excellent. Thanks for joining us on Mindset Monday Live with Thrive. It's a pleasure to have you as a ninja of so many things. You wrote a book which had a lot of mindset stuff in it, right? I would love to learn, David, what as you think about the book that you wrote and the way that you help people on their journey, where does mindset matter most?
Where does it matter most? Interesting question. I'd say it matters most everywhere. Right? I mean, the reality is it's if you don't have the right mindset, you're not gonna be able to get started. If you don't have the right mindset, you're not gonna keep going when it gets challenging, which we know everything is typically a lot more challenging than we plan on it being. You won't know where to focus, what to focus on. So I think it's critical. And I also think it's not just your mindset, it's the people that are around you as well. If you're not around the right people that have the right mindset, it's going to hinder you as well. So I think it's everywhere, man.
Yeah, that's a really great point, David. One of the things that, as I heard what you just said in terms of being around the right people and mindset, what I always find is that the right people show up differently than, let's call it, the rest of the people. What do you see differently in the people that you choose to be around these days that you may not have seen in the past? Even now during COVID and all the things that are going on, what mindset are you looking to be around now more than ever?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I'm looking to be around people that have done and gone through things that maybe I haven't achieved yet or gone through yet, right? That have done things at a really high level. And the people that are frankly pushing me, I know partnering with you guys recently, that was a big reason why I decided to go that direction. I had considered some other options, but I ended up choosing to go with you guys because I feel like I call you Yoda all the time because I feel like you're just a wealth of knowledge, and then Vlad just pushes me beyond what I think is possible. Sometimes I want to kill him, but I love him, and he pushes me. He reminds me of other people and other coaches in my life that really push me. And sometimes you don't like it, but in the end you realize it's for me, it's what I need. So having some people, like I said, helping me get where I want to go.
Yeah, I love that. So here's what I heard what you said, and I just want to unpack it a little deeper.
Sure.
What David Hill is looking for, which is what I think a lot of people are looking for, and what I think I'm looking for, is I'm looking for people to take me to the next level. Right? Is that true?
Yeah. I think we get stuck in our own little world and in our own little sailing and in our own little lids, and don't realize that there's so much more out there. And yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think, as I think about it, what's great is that you coming into my life in this way, it elevates my mindset. And that's the thing that I'll tell you is that there are two kinds of mindsets out there, right? There's a mindset of having what I would call an arrival mindset, meaning that a person has already been there, done that, got the t-shirt. As a matter of fact, you and I have had conversations with people recently that have had an arrival mindset. And we've also got the people that have that humble, hungry, and smart mindset where they're looking to constantly elevate and grow. What do you think is the foundation of the two things for you, or for people in general, that they look at when they're seeing that arrival mindset versus the elevate and grow mindset?
Oh God. So going back to your question, I remember when we first met, we met in Gary's mastermind. I don't know, what was this, like 2011 or 12?
Yep.
And I was the top producer in my little MLS, Worcester. I think I had done 17 million. And, that was a pretty big deal back then. And I guess it's still a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So I went into Gary Keller's mastermind thinking, man, I'm no joke. Like I'm the real deal. And then I got in that room and I started hearing some of the production of what some of the agents were doing in there, and I was embarrassed to say, guys are doing 60 million, 80 million, 100 million. And I did not realize that was possible
Yeah.
until I went, like, I've heard the book, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's just a millionaire real estate agent book. People don't really do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking until I got in that room. And then I realized, wow, there's so much more potential, and there's so much more, so much more is possible than what I'm doing. And I think for me, I hope that answered your question, but it was like, I had to see that, I had to experience it, I had to know that it actually existed, because I think a lot of people get stuck in their own little world, and we can't see outside of our own world, or our own fish tank, I guess, or pond for.
Yeah, I love that, David. You know, what's funny is that as you were saying that, what came to mind is this whole situation that we're all in. We're all faced with having to adapt and to shift and to change a completely different way of doing things now. Some of the things are basically going to be the same, right? We're obviously using a lot more video. We're doing a lot of different things this way. But what's also happening is that people are getting stuck in the moment. They're getting stuck overall because there's these ebbs and flows. I don't know about you, but for me, we've had this cycle in our household and in our life since COVID, where we things are going well, and then there's roadblocks that come up, and I know that you and I have had dialogues about that as well. What as you're thinking about what causes the difference between a sprint mindset and a long-term mindset, specifically as we're all faced with, how do we press reset in the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. Another good question. Honestly, it's for me. I can tell you what we're doing is we're focusing on on the now, on what's happening now, but at the same time prepping ourselves for the future. Right. I think Wayne Gretzky has that quote everybody knows. Right. I skate to where the puck's going. So we have to really pay attention to, and that comes back to, who do I surround myself with? I want to surround myself with people that have been through these times before, people that are doing this at a high level, that understand where the market's going, where the industry's going itself. And that's what I'm doing. I mean, just putting in hard work, but I want to focus on not just hard work, but smart work, right? So I'm doing all the things everybody's doing, in touch with database. But the difference between me is in touch with database, I'm creating urgency for people. I'm not going to push anybody to do anything that doesn't make sense for them, health-wise or any other way. I just want to give them the best advice and let them decide what to do with it. So it's a sense of urgency. And yeah, setting myself up for doing other things, working with investors, wholesaling, reconnecting with banks again, right? Getting those REO accounts, if I need them, great. If I don't need them, great. That's great too, right? But doing all those things that we do, kind of going back to that playbook, Devin, you may know the playbook we used back in 2007, 2008, right? I've been going back into that playbook again.
Well, and as you're speaking there, that Sean said something on a comment there. He said pressing reset is huge. Do you have a reset? Do you have a reset that you do, whether you're in the moment? I talk a lot about what the difference between being in a beautiful state or in a suffering state, right? The beautiful state being the place where you can really be creative from and have compassion for others and be connected, or being in a suffering state when it's, oh, poor me, or, we're basically just bringing our own stuff to cause, us to be stuck, really. Sean says pressing reset is huge. As you're saying, hey, back to the old times, what about the in the moment resets, David? Like right now, you run into an obstacle today. Yeah. What is your in the moment reset strategy?
Yeah, man, I've got this here. This is my 10X planner, right? I write in it every day. I'm still getting up early. I had gotten away from that. Like I was sleeping till 6:30, 7 o'clock. And now I'm, so I'm getting back to getting up early, journaling, doing my meditation, exercising, all that stuff, so that I keep my head right, because it's critical. Everything you said is absolutely critical now, because it's so easy to get into the doom and gloom of, if you sit around and you watch CNN all day, you're gonna be thinking about the wrong stuff. And my goal is keep myself healthy, keep my family healthy, and then just focus on being in touch with as many people as I can, and sharing the right information with people, and just bringing value. I mean, in the end, What can I do to help you? Is there anything I can do to help you with your house right now, or with your life? Or do you need me to get whatever? Can I set you up with somebody that will bring you groceries? It's anything that I can do right now to just serve people. And if business comes now, great. But at the same time, we just want to serve enough people so that we're getting in a business in the future, getting the business in the future. And if my mindset's not right, then I'm not going to be able to have those conversations. I'm going to be coming from a place of scarcity and fear, and people are going to feel that. I'll tell you what, Devin, I was talking to somebody earlier about this, and it seems like more like we're not and agents aren't doing enough of this, where we should be reaching out to people, and those people they need that right now. They need us reaching out and talking and having conversations and being honest and being truthful, and that's what people need right now.
Yeah, and obviously the purpose of this conversation is somewhat of a mindset reset, right? I think we're talking about these stuck states, these states where a person is not moving in an effective way, they're moving in a less effective way, and how is it that you can snap out of that stuck state? Do you have any secrets for what you do to like switch yourself like in the moment? You can feel that negative spiral starting to happen. Do you have any ways of jumping out of that you would want to share or recommend to us?
I shared my routine. I think having a routine is critical. I had gotten away from my routine because I do triathlon. So my training, I usually start training really early. I love doing 2-3 hour workouts every day. I haven't been able to do that since it started. The gym's been closed. I'm not set up in where I am right now. So, but I have that routine, and I think that's a big part of it. But you're right. In the moment, sometimes, Devin, we get something happen. So how do I do that? Is I have to remind myself that I'm just coming from contribution. It's not personal. I'm here to help people. Sometimes I have to start my day over, right? I have to get up. Believe it or not, I'll get on my knees sometimes in the middle of the day and just say, God, please let me start the day over. It's whatever it takes. The challenge is when I don't have the awareness to do that, and I can carry something for a while. So, and that's why it's nice to have people like you around me, or, have access to you. And you're like my I don't know, you and I talk quite a bit, and I appreciate that. So you help me, that's why it's also important to have those types of people, or like Vlad shooting me an email that just, snaps me back into action. Yeah, I mean, listen, I do the best I can, but I'm by no means perfect. I'm just like everybody else, and just, it's nice to have other people that you can bounce things off too. So I think the environment, the routine, having my little tricks, I got signs everywhere. I got a whiteboard, signs. Look, it says, I'm here to help. This is what it says. I am here to help in big letters. This is not personal. It says that right here on my wall.
I love that.
I have to remind myself.
I got a couple of questions for you coming out of that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I would challenge people to take away as an aha or a lesson that I'm going to use for myself, thank you for the lesson, by the way, is that you're okay with doing a reset in the middle of the day. And your form of a reset sometimes is going to your knees and just getting alignment with God, and then asking for basically a do-over, right?
Sometimes I have to, man, because you know what? We can start our day anytime. It's our choice, right?
Yeah.
It's a choice. We have a choice. If we want to be negative, we want to be woe is me. That's a mindset. That's a choice. Okay, I can focus on how healthy my family is and how blessed we are, and the wealth, where I can focus on, oh my God, that the guy that was supposed to list with me is not listing, and this deal just fell apart, and because I've got that too, but I'm not going to focus on that.
Yeah, and we had a Facebook user say midday reset, which is awesome. So as I'm we're halfway through our conversation. We want to give these guys some value, and we really want to make sure that they're walking away with something. So let's assume that you find yourself needing to reset. I want to go right to the time, to the let's call it the ugly David, just for the fun of it. Right before the reset happens, how do you know you need a reset? How do you what kicks in that brain of yours that allows you to go, yeah, that's, I need to go to my knees here. Sometimes, that do-over that you're looking for, you have to be the trigger of that do-over. How does that work for you?
That's a really good question.
Is there a particular trigger that's happening for you right now? Sometimes, like for instance, my kids or my environment causes me to get triggered, and then I realize that it just is what it is. But that's what causes me to have to go into reset. Is there any triggers that you're noticing about your situation right now where you're starting to install a pattern where, okay, I see the trigger, now I'm going to reset?
I can see, I see my anxiety, or I can, like, for instance, my two girls ran in earlier and they were asking if I could play Legos. And I can't play Legos right now. Like, but then
we could have had a Lego show, man. We could have had a Lego show.
And they just want to play and they're awesome. And and cause I play Legos with them, but I just can't do it right this moment. So I caught myself and whoa, that's not how I want to talk to my daughters, right? That's not how I want to be as a father. And so I'd go out and my God, I'm sorry. But it's little things like that. Or I catch myself becoming real anxious because I'm one of those guys that I'm a task guy and I want to get all my tasks completed and I want to get it done within a certain time. And sometimes I just have to be okay with not all the tasks being completed, or I can feel like I don't know. That's such a hard question to answer.
So here's what I heard in that answer. I heard in that answer that you're finding a way of being okay in the moment with the energy, but then you're also doing something with the reset pattern. I guess the question that I'm struggling with, and I'm just using you for a sounding board, is as I feel that negative energy building up, and I sometimes don't see the trigger. Do you have anybody in your household that can help you see that in an effective way? In other words, do you guys have a code or a strategy for where your wife jumps in and says, honey, get on your knees and you listen? Or does it work like in my house where I say, rawr, rawr, rawr?
Well, so here's what I can tell you. I think I've got on my knees maybe a half dozen times in my lifetime. So it's not like this thing I'm doing every day. But the good news was last week it happened. I did it. I found myself being super in my head, super negative. I just got into it with somebody that I didn't want to get into it with. And it just occurred to me that was the only option, right? I think it was Abe Lincoln has a quote or something, right? If there's nowhere else, I can't remember his quote verbatim, but it's something along the lines of, when I find there's nowhere else to go, I go to my knees or something.
Yeah.
Look that up. And it's cool. And I just, so yes, that's a tool that I have. And unfortunately, I don't get to go to it enough. But I think, if I have enough positive stuff around me with regards to my environment, and my journal's always sitting on my desk, right? And I have the stuff on the walls, and I have even on my it says, but for the grace of God, on my screensaver.
Nice.
So it's just there, so I'm seeing stuff right here. There's just stuff all over. And I think for me, that's important. My environment will continue to remind me of this stuff as well. Not because if I just rely on myself to remember, I'm just not even close to that good, man. I just need, and yes, sometimes my wife will say, dude, like, what's wrong with you? Like, chill out, Yeah. And I'll do the same thing to her sometimes, right? And
so
she doesn't like it.
Yeah, and as you know, we even in past conversations with friends and associates, you and I have been involved in. There's been dialogue around unwanted negative emotions, people that get triggered because there's a buildup of fear, or there's a buildup of sadness, and there's a buildup of anger, or doubt, or frustration of some kind. And everybody uses different labels, but that buildup comes up. And Doug's question here is there something in the moment, not just the past and the future? And I think that's kind of what we're honing in on here, is giving people in the moment strategies that they can press reset on. One of the things that I love to do, and if I knew how to do this on the computer, I would do it. Maybe somebody can post a link, is that one of my favorite songs is the song from Earth, Wind and Fire, September. And if I ever find myself and realize that I'm in the funk that I need to get out of, I will go to music, and I actually have that in my playlist. And if I kick on that song, it automatically resets me to a place. Now, what also happens is that, as we go back to Doug's question, in the moment for you, David, do you see like some other than music or something else is there something that you do? Go to your knees is one of them. What else is there?
So the question you asked me is a good question, and it's not something I had thought about and I'm glad you asked me, because now you made me kind of think, okay, what is it that because I'm not sometimes we're not personally, like someone else could probably say, yeah, Dave does this all the time, and that's why Dave's successful at FISBOs or whatever recruiter, whatever I do. I'm just doing it, right?
Right.
So I meditate, though. I meditate twice a day. I do transcendental meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I do it at 7 a.m. and I do it at 6 p.m. every day.
Mm-hmm.
That has been tremendous in helping me with, to Doug's question, being in the moment. And sometimes I'll feel stuff coming up in me. And that's when I can catch myself. And I think and I've been meditating for 9 years. Pretty consistently, but just in the last year, I picked up TM, which has been really tremendous. I think that's another thing that I would say for me has helped a lot with the being present in the moment thing, that as well as catching myself. Because when you're meditating, I don't know if you meditate or if anybody listening meditates, but you're there with your thoughts, and the point of meditation is not to not have thoughts. It's to be okay with whatever thoughts are. And then in TM, it's about letting the thoughts be there and then going back to the mantra. And as you go back to the mantra, the mantra means nothing. There's no thought. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to describe TM in 5 minutes, but I mean, it helps. It shows up in all areas. So I think that's another tool that I hadn't really thought of until you asked me that question.
That's awesome. Well, and by the way, that is part of the routine. So what I heard is that you have preventative methods that you use, right? And your routine is part of that. And then we have these in the moment strategies, and the in the moment strategies is just building awareness to how it is that we don't end up having a bad day. Now, the challenge we've got is we've got a lot of people that are not working. We've got a lot of people that are struggling in all kinds of different ways financially. And they're not only having a bad day, but they're having a bad week and a bad month and a bad COVID, if you will, right? And at the same time, when a person is in a state of gratitude, when they're in a beautiful state, they can count their blessings and they can start to look at some things. How have you helped people move away from the negativity and towards having more of a beautiful state? What are you doing to help your people around you?
Man, just trying to serve, man. That's all. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of people I can't help. The people that I can, I really, my goal is to be positive. My goal is to if I can help somebody, give something, do something for somebody. The people that I work with, I try to help them create a positive environment for themselves and do similar things like journaling. I think is really, really important. Because there's my mom used to say when I was a kid, she used to say, and I things can be worse, and I didn't really understand that until I got older, and because especially when we can get ourselves into this mindset of thinking, oh my God, life's so bad, and I think things are bad right now for a lot of people, unfortunately, and I think we can pray for a lot of people and we can wish a lot of people the best. And at the same time, I need to be really, really grateful for all the blessings I have. And I try to encourage the people around me to do the same thing, and I that's probably the best answer I have for that, man.
I love that. And but what it made me think of is a mantra that I recently developed over the years of learning a bunch of different really cool things through my journey in neurolinguistic programming. Aligning with people's similarities and forgetting their differences can be highly effective in this world right now. And as you look at people that are struggling and you start to put judgment on them about what their background is or why they're struggling, you can actually remove the empathy that could be there for that person in that moment. That could go all the way from the person that's not currently employed, go get a job attitude, all these kind of things. But when you start to align with people's similarities and forget their differences, things can change for you. Have you found yourself kind of looking at the world differently now that we're seeing how much, you're there kind of in the middle of a lot of the stuff that's going on just to the south of you in New York. And how does aligning with people's similarities and forgetting the differences help you as you think about that?
You know what? trying to answer the question the right way. I don't. This is just something I've been working on for a while, and I think this has given me an opportunity to hone those skills, right? Because I unfortunately didn't grow up with a lot of those traits. So I'm a runner. I run a lot, and now more than ever, people wave, people are friendly, people stop and let you go, where just a month and a half ago, you didn't see nearly that. Or if somebody's driving by and they have a nice car, I give them a high five. And, people appreciate that. It's all the little things. And that's not just me. You're seeing a lot of that happening right now. You're seeing people at stores with masks on and still saying hi to each other. And I'll tell you, if there's anything that's coming out of this, it seems like it's bringing everybody closer together. As not everybody, but I think a lot of people are becoming closer, and it's
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we've got just a couple minutes left. I love Tina mentioned this concept of comparing in versus comparing out. Any feedback you have on that, or anything else you want to share with us before we wrap up at the bottom of the hour here?
No, I don't think so, man. I think you did a good job hitting it, and I think right now it's just a time to be smart and work. Put in the time. I know we talked about this the other day. I'm a worker. I always have been. So I'm still putting in the time, but I want to do it in the best possible way I can, and come from a place of abundance and serving people.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, a lot of people know me for ending meetings in prayer. Would you mind if I just said a quick prayer for your family and the families that are all struggling out there as we wrap up our Mindset Monday?
No, man, that'd be good. Thank you.
All right. You bet. God, thank you for a beautiful conversation with David Hill. Thank you for all the blessings that you've given us. And thank you for helping us to be able to understand the reset triggers that we can find in ourselves. And thank you for allowing us to get to our knees when we need to. And we just ask a special blessing on all the people that are struggling out there, all the people that are needing work, all the PPPs that haven't been funded. We just thank you for all the work that the people are doing to make that stuff happen. We ask a special blessing on all the healthcare providers and all the families that have been affected by this crazy situation that we're in of this illness. We also ask that you would just bless us with the opportunity to serve you by getting people unstuck, and just let us know how we can help with that. And we just ask a special blessing from the sound of our voice to you, to their lips, to their hearts, that they would just be healed. And we just pray this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, brother. Thanks so much for taking the time. It's been awesome. Really appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you too.
You bet. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.